The air in Crimson Lights was thick with the scent of roasted coffee beans and cinnamon, a quintessential Genoa City autumn aroma. Kyle Abbott stirred his latte, the ceramic mug warm against his palm, his gaze distant. The holiday season always brought a complex cocktail of emotions, warmth for family traditions and a sharp, lingering ache for the ones that were broken. The bell above the door jingled, and he looked up. Claire Grace stepped in, her posture slightly hesitant, as if she were an actor unsure of her cue. Their eyes met, and a flicker of mutual surprise passed between them. "Kyle," she said, offering a tentative smile. "I didn't expect to see you here." "Last-minute caffeine run before the Abbott chaos descends," he replied, gesturing to the empty chair at his table. "Join me? Escape the pre-turkey jitters?" Claire slid into the chair, placing her purse on the floor. "Something like that. It's a bit quiet at the ranch. Victor's holed up in his study, and the others are, well, it's a lot of unspoken tension." "Tell me about it." "We have our own version at the Abbott Manse. It's the first big holiday with Diane fully reinstated. Jack's walking on air, but there's an underlying current, a ghost of the past, you know." "Harrison?" Claire asked softly, her voice laced with a maternal concern that never seemed to fade. Kyle nodded, a shadow crossing his face. "He asked if you were coming for dinner. He misses you, Claire." The sound of her son's name on his lips, spoken with such casual familiarity, sent a pang through her. "I miss him every second of every day. It's a physical ache. But Victoria, the situation is complicated." "It doesn't have to be," Kyle urged, leaning forward. "He's your son. That's the least complicated thing in the world. Come by today, just to see him. Wish him a happy Thanksgiving. He'd be thrilled." Claire looked down at her hands, twisting the simple silver ring on her finger. "I don't want to cause a scene. I'm the Newman who wasn't, the Abbott who couldn't. I don't know where I fit." "You fit wherever Harrison is," Kyle said, his voice firm yet gentle. "And for what it's worth, you'll always have a place with us. My dad, Tracy, they ask about you. They care." A small, genuine smile touched her lips. "Please, wish them all a happy Thanksgiving from me." "Or," Kyle countered, a playful glint in his eye, "you could wish them yourself. Just for a minute. Pop in, say hello, give Harrison a hug. I'll be your buffer. I promise." He saw the war in her eyes, the fear of rejection battling the fierce, undeniable pull of motherhood. After a long moment, she let out a soft sigh of surrender. Okay, I'll stop by. Just for a minute." Kyle's smile was a reward in itself. That's all he needs. Across town, society buzzed with a different, more polished energy. Billy Abbott leaned against the bar, a smirk playing on his lips as he watched Sally Spector approach. She moved with a confidence that turned heads, a living testament to her resilience. "You know, for a woman who claims to hate all this domestic bliss, you sure are embracing the pie-baking hallmarks of it," Billy teased as she slid onto the stool next to him. Sally placed a large, carefully wrapped pie box on the bar with a theatrical flourish. "This, William, is not just a pie. This is my grandmother's famous pumpkin pie recipe, a Spectra heirloom. It's won awards in shows you've never heard of. I'm not embracing domesticity. I'm launching a hostile takeover of Abbott family traditions." Billy laughed, a rich, warm sound. "I love your ambition. But just so you know, Jack tasked me with the dessert run. We're picking up the official Abbott pies from Abby's restaurant." As if on cue, the door chimed and Abby Newman herself walked in, her expression a blend of amusement and exasperation. "Speaking of which, your order is ready, Uncle Billy. I assume you want the full spread? Maple pecan, apple cranberry, and the classic pumpkin?" "The classics never fail," Billy said, winking at Sally. "But we might have some competition this year." Abby's eyes shifted to the pie box, then to Sally, and a knowing smile appeared. "Ah, I see. Well, may the best baker win." She leaned in, her voice dropping to a more conspiratorial tone. "Tell the family that Devin, Dom, and I will be over later. We're doing a pre-dinner thing at our place." "Everything okay with the launch party preparations?" Billy asked, his business instincts kicking in. We can't have another delay. Abby's gaze hardened with determination. Nothing is stopping at this time. The venue is secured, the guest list is finalized, and the security is airtight. This launch will put Abbott Communications on the map in a way Chancellor Winters never could. Spoken like a true Newman-Abbott hybrid, Billy said, impressed. We'll see you later. And don't worry, we'll save you some of Sally's award-winning pie. After collecting the boxes from Abby's restaurant, Billy and Sally walked to his car, the crisp autumn air nipping at their cheeks. You're nervous, Billy observed, noticing the way Sally held the pie box a little too tightly. She let out a breath, a small cloud in the cold air. It's just your family, the Abbotts. You have decades of history in that house. Your father's portrait watching over everything. I come from a world where Thanksgiving was a hot dog between carnival rides if we were lucky. This level of established normalcy is intimidating. Billy stopped and turned to her, his hands on her shoulders. Listen to me. My family is messy. We've had feuds, betrayals, you name it. But at the end of the day, what makes us a family is that we show up. And today, you're showing up. With me. That's all that matters to them, and it's everything to me. He leaned in and kissed her forehead. I'm the lucky one here, Sally. Never forget that. The opulent silence of the Newman Ranch was a stark contrast to the city's buzz. In his cavernous study, Victor Newman stood before a wall of monitors, his hands clasped behind his back. The door opened, and Adam Newman entered, the scent of his cologne a sharp note in the room's leather and wood scent. Everything is set, Victor asked without turning around, his voice a low rumble. The pieces are in place, Adam confirmed, coming to stand beside his father. The digital infrastructure we've built is a ghost. It can disrupt their launch without a single trace leading back to us. Abbott Communications will be dead in the water before it even leaves the harbor. Good. Victor finally turned, his piercing eyes fixing on his son. But before we discuss the Abbott problem, I want to talk about Matt Clark. Adam's jaw tightened. He's a ghost. We've tracked his financials, his known associates, but the man has vanished. He's clever. He's a snake, Victor corrected, his tone dripping with contempt. And he has my grandson. Noah's disappearance is not a coincidence. I want you to use every resource, legal or otherwise, to find out what Clark is planning. But you will keep this quiet. The last thing we need is the media catching wind of a Newman heir being missing, potentially involved with a man like that. They or otherwise is what I'm best at, Adam said, a dark promise in his eyes. We'll find him. Before they could continue, the study door opened again, and Nikki, Victoria, and Chelsea swept into the room, bringing with them a wave of perfume and unspoken anxieties. Planning world domination on a holiday, Victor? Nikki asked, her tone light, but her eyes sharp. Merely ensuring our world remains intact, Nikki, Victor replied smoothly. He turned his attention to the group. Where are Nick and Sharon? I expected them for dinner. They're in LA, Victoria supplied, exchanging a quick, worried glance with her mother. They said Noah wanted to do something low-key, just the three of them. Nikki's smile was strained. I'm just glad he's with his parents. He's been so distant lately. She turned to Chelsea. Don't you agree, dear? Chelsea, who had been quietly observing Adam, nodded. He has. I'm sure he just needs some family time. As the conversation turned to the holiday, Victoria made her own announcement. I've invited Nate over for cocktails after dinner. I thought it would be nice. The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Victor's face was a mask of cold fury. Nate Hastings? The man who conspired to have me committed and tried to steal my company. You invite that snake into my home. He's been a friend to me, father, Victoria retorted, her spine straightening. And he's lost a lot because of his loyalty to me. The least I can do is offer him a drink. He is opportunist, Victoria. Do not confuse his ambition for friendship, Victor warned, his voice dangerously low. From the doorway, Claire appeared, looking slightly uncomfortable to be interrupting the family drama. Victoria, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just leaving. Nikki, eager to diffuse the tension, brightened. Claire, dear. Perfect timing. I made an extra pumpkin pie. Would you be a darling and take it to the Abbotts? A peace offering from our family to theirs. Claire, looking bewildered by the request, took the proffered pie. Of course. As she turned to go, Victor's voice stopped her. Tell Kyle I said hello. Claire stared at him, utterly stunned. For months, Victor had treated the very notion of her relationship with Kyle with open hostility. I will. Thank you, Victor. After she left, Victoria raised an eyebrow at her father. Telling Claire that Kyle will be happy to see her? My, you have changed your tune. Victor's expression was inscrutable. I've seen the reality of the situation, and there are very few men worthy of a Newman woman. Adam, standing slightly apart from the group, felt Chelsea's gaze on him. She drifted to his side. Noah, she murmured, her voice for his ears only. Nikki's putting on a brave face, but she's terrified. Is she right to be worried? What aren't you telling me? Adam met her concerned gaze, his own a carefully constructed wall. We're looking into it, Chelsea. That's all I can say right now. The Los Angeles sun was deceptively bright, casting harsh shadows on a grimy, garbage-strewn alley behind a derelict building. The air smelled of rot and despair. Sharon Newman, her designer coat looking tragically out of place, clutched Nick's arm, her knuckles white. Are you sure this is the address he gave you? She whispered, her voice trembling. Nick Newman, his face a grim mask of determination, nodded. He flashed back to the opulent hotel room just hours before, grabbing Matt Clark by his lapels, slamming him against the wall. Matt, smirking through the pain, had taunted them. You want to see your precious boy again? You'll have to play my game. I call all the shots. I make all the rules. This is the place, Nick growled, his phone illuminating the address Matt had texted them. A clue, he'd called it. Sharon's phone buzzed. She pulled it out, and a fresh wave of tears welled in her eyes. It's Faith. She sent a picture of the whole family at the ranch. She says she misses us and hopes we're having a nice time with Noah. A sob escaped her. Oh, Nick, what are we doing here? We should be home with our family. Nick pulled her into a firm, steadying embrace. We can't tell them, Sharon. Not yet. We can't put this fear on them until we know what we're dealing with. He remembered Matt's final warning, his voice dripping with malice. And remember, no cops. You bring in the police, and you'll be identifying Noah's body in the morgue. Noah. Nick's voice echoed off the brick walls, raw and desperate. Sienna? Sharon joined him, her voice cracking. Noah, baby, if you can hear us, please answer. Their pleas were met with silence, broken only by the distant wail of a siren. As they moved deeper into the alley, Nick's flashlight beam caught something on the ground. He knelt, his heart hammering against his ribs. Scattered amongst the empty beer cans and fast food wrappers were used syringes and small, torn plastic baggies. Sharon, look, he said, his voice tight. He picked up one of the baggies. It was a distinctive neon pink with a small black star printed on it. It was identical to the baggie Matt had shown them in the hotel room. He had held it up, a smug look on his face, a tiny amount of white powder visible inside. This is fentanyl, Matt had said. A little taste of heaven, or a one-way ticket to hell. Depends on your perspective. Sharon had lunged at him then. Did you give that to our son? Matt had just smiled, a cruel, twisted expression. Maybe. Maybe not. Your son used me for my contacts, built his business on my back, and then he slept with my wife. He does not get away with that. No one does. Now, standing in this filthy alley, holding the evidence of a drug-fueled party, Sharon felt a cold dread seize her.
He's here, Nick.
He's here, and he's in trouble. He and Sienna could be passed out somewhere. We have to keep looking. Just then, a car pulled up, and two figures emerged, a man and a woman in plain clothes, flashing badges. Mr. and Mrs. Newman? I'm Detective Burrow. This is Officer Amy. We got a call about a possible disturbance. Nick straightened up, his protective instincts on high alert. We're looking for our son, Noah Newman, and his business partner, Sienna. We have reason to believe they're in danger. He held up the pink baggie. We were given a clue that led us here. This matches a sample of fentanyl that was shown to us by a man named Matt Clark, who we believe has threatened them. Detective Burrow, a man with weary eyes and a noncommittal expression, took the baggie. Fentanyl. Nasty stuff. But a baggie and an address from a mysterious informant isn't much to go on. As for Matt Clark, we have no proof he was involved in your son's accident months ago. That case is cold. Cold. Sharon cried, her composure shattering. Our son is missing. That man is a predator, and he has our boy. Are you going to help us or not? Nick's voice was a low, dangerous promise. We're going to tear this place apart, brick by brick, with or without you. Burrow sighed, exchanging a look with his partner.
All right.
We'll call for backup. But you need to let us handle this. It's too dangerous. As Burrow got on his radio, Nick turned to Sharon. Stay here with him. Officer Amy and I will start a preliminary search. We don't have a second to lose. As Nick and Amy cautiously entered the dark maw of the abandoned building, Sharon was left with Detective Burrow. She watched him, this man who seemed so detached, so unmoved by their nightmare. A chilling thought, born of a mother's intuition and years of surviving Genoa City's intrigues, solidified in her mind. She stepped closer to him, her voice dropping to a whisper. Detective Burrow, look me in the eye and tell me, are you really going to help us find our son? Or are you hiding something? The Abbott home was a picture of warm, chaotic perfection. The scent of roasting turkey and sage stuffing filled the air, a symphony of tradition. Tracy Abbott, her face flushed with happiness, opened the front door to Billy and Sally. You made it! And you brought the pies. Tracy enveloped Billy in a hug before turning her warm gaze to Sally. Sally, we're so glad you're here.
Come in, come in.
It's freezing. Diane Jenkins appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on an apron. She offered Sally a genuine, if slightly cautious, smile.
Sally.
Welcome. Let me take your coat. As Diane helped her, Sally presented her pie box to Tracy. I brought a little something. My grandmother's pumpkin pie. Tracy's eyes lit up. A Spectra original. I can't wait to try it. Jack will be thrilled. He's just at the airport picking up Ashley. Ashley's coming? Billy asked, surprised. Yes, it was a last-minute decision, Tracy said, lowering her voice. I think after hearing about Danny and Christine's wedding, she felt a little nostalgic. Wanted to be with family. As they moved into the living room, the front door opened again, and Kyle walked in, holding Harrison's hand. Daddy, we're here, Harrison exclaimed, pulling away and running to give Tracy a hug. Hey, buddy, Kyle said, his eyes scanning the room. Where's everyone? Just us for now, Tracy said. Jack will be back with Ashley soon. Harrison looked up at his father, his big eyes serious. I talked to Mom on the phone. I miss her. Is she really not coming? Kyle knelt down, his heart breaking a little. She's having dinner with her family, pal. But I have a feeling you might get to see her later.
Just then the doorbell rang.
Kyle's eyes met Billy's, a silent communication passing between the brothers.
Kyle went to answer it.
There, standing on the porch, holding a homemade pumpkin pie and looking more nervous than he'd ever seen her, was Claire. Claire, Harrison yelled, darting past his father and throwing his arms around her legs. Claire laughed, a sound of pure, unadulterated joy, and knelt to hug him properly. Happy Thanksgiving, sweetheart. I told you I'd stop by. Kyle watched them, a lump in his throat. Come in, Claire. You're just in time. We're about to have hot toddies. As Claire stepped inside, greeted warmly by Tracy and a polite Diane, Harrison tugged on her hand. You have to stay for dinner. We have a big, big table. There's room. Claire's eyes darted to Kyle, filled with uncertainty. Oh, honey, I can't. I have my own dinner to get to. But you have a pie. Harrison argued, his logic impeccable. That means you have to stay and eat it with us. Kyle stepped in, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. Harrison, Claire's family, is expecting her. But she's here now, and that's what matters. From her spot near the fireplace, Sally watched the intimate scene. The easy way Kyle looked at Claire, the pure love between mother and son. She felt a fresh wave of her own outsider status, but Billy's hand found hers, his grip firm and reassuring. He's lucky, she thought, to have so many people who love him. We both are. Back at the Newman Ranch, the dinner table was a study in opulent tension. The turkey had been carved, the wine had been poured, but the conversation was stilted, circling around safe, trivial topics. Victoria watched her father, who was brooding silently at the head of the table. "So, you've fully accepted Claire and Kyle now," she probed, slicing into her sweet potato. "After all your lectures about the Abbotts being the enemy?" Victor took a slow sip of his wine. "I've accepted that the heart wants what it wants. And I've come to see that Kyle Abbott, for all his faults, is a devoted father. Claire could do worse. Just as she's decided she wants to be single and focus on her career," Victoria mused. The irony. From across the table, Adam spoke up, his eyes on his sister. "Don't think for a second that his newfound benevolence means he's gone soft, Victoria. With Claire's situation handled, his attention will turn to the next perceived threat. And I believe you just invited that threat over for cocktails." Victoria sighed in exasperation. "Nate is not a threat. We're friends. That's all." Chelsea, seated next to Adam, couldn't suppress a soft, knowing smirk. "We've all heard that before, Victoria. Just friends is often the starting pistol for the most complicated races." In the adjoining parlor, Nikki Newman held her phone to her ear, her face etched with worry. "Nick, Sharon, it's Mom again. Please, just call me back when you get this. I want to hear Noah's voice. I want to know you're all having a wonderful time. Happy Thanksgiving, my darlings." She ended the call and slumped onto the sofa, unaware that Victor was standing in the doorway, having heard every word of her plea. His face, usually so impassive, showed a flicker of deep, paternal concern. The game with the Abbotts was one thing, but a threat to his family was another entirely. In the LA alley, the scene had escalated. Red and blue lights from several squad cars painted the crumbling brick walls in pulsating strokes. The area was being cordoned off. Inside the dark, derelict building, Nick and Officer Amy moved slowly, their flashlights cutting through the oppressive gloom. The air was thick with dust and the sour smell of decay and urine. "LAPD, is anyone in here?" Amy called out, her voice echoing through the vast, empty space. They found more evidence of recent habitation, a dirty mattress, more empty baggies, a discarded jacket that Nick didn't recognize. His phone buzzed. A text from Sharon. "Backup is here. Burrow is cooperative. But I don't trust him. Please be careful." Suddenly, Nick's light caught a glint of metal on the floor, half hidden under a pile of rubble. He knelt and picked it up. It was a silver bracelet. He turned it over in his hand, his blood running cold. Engraved on the inside were two words, "Forever, Sienna." It was Sienna's bracelet, the one Noah had told him he'd given her for her birthday. "She was here," Nick whispered, his voice hoarse with fear and rage. "They were both here." He flashed back to Matt's smug face in the hotel. He does not get away with that. A cold certainty settled over Nick. This wasn't just about revenge for a business deal or an affair. This was something darker, more personal. Matt Clark wasn't just trying to hurt Noah. He was trying to erase him. Standing up, Nick pocketed the bracelet and met Officer Amy's grim gaze. "We're not just looking for two missing people," Nick said, his voice low and deadly. "We're looking for a crime scene." Outside, Sharon saw the change in Nick's posture as he emerged from the building. She knew that look. It was the look he got when the situation had shifted from desperate to dire. She broke away from Detective Burrow and ran to him. "What is it? What did you find?" Nick didn't answer. He just pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly as the police swarmed around them. Over her shoulder, his eyes met Detective Burrow's. And in that moment, Nick knew with chilling clarity that Sharon was right. They couldn't trust the police. They were on their own. The game was far from over, and the stakes had just become a matter of life and death.